everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing another action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the Spinmaster, The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie 2-pack. I pre-ordered this thing on Amazon, it arrived today, so let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the top, PlayStation. This is sort of a new line of PlayStation game-based figures. The Last of Us, Joel and Ellie 2-pack. 30 plus points of articulation. Here they are on the package. Looks like we have a ton of extra hands, a couple backpacks, bunch of guns, bow and arrow. One side of the package, you can see the two figures. Other side, looks like Ellie from the game. At the back, here's the two of them from the game. And there is a barcode, if that helps. So with no further ado, let's open it up. Alright, now that these figures out of the package, here they are with all their accessories laid out. They come with quite a bit of cool stuff. They both have a backpack, a bunch of weapons, and a bunch of hands. In this video, we're going to take a look at each of the figures individually. We'll check out their accessories, height, and articulation. Hope you guys enjoy this video. We'll start off with Joel. So here's a look at Joel. He comes with 5 alternate hands, totaling 7 interchangeable hands, a backpack, a little revolver, machete, and a shotgun. Before we take a look at all those, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Joel. He's a survivor in the modern world. In this world, there's a plague decimating mankind. People are scavenging for food, weapons, whatever they can find. Joel's been around for a while, and Ellie is a young teenage girl that he's sort of become a father figure for. So let's take a closer look. Starting with his face here. It looks pretty good. The sculpt is actually very nice. Beard very well done. Hair looks good. The eyes, he's got a little scar or wound on the top of his nose. For the most part, it looks good. My biggest complaint about these figures, they're really, really small. He's got a sort of plaid type shirt. Articulation cut, kind of ugly in the middle there. The hands are super little. They look weird and they look ugly. He's got these micro fists. Looks like we have double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. Looks like some black jeans here. Brown shoes. For the most part, it's a good looking figure, but much smaller than I would have liked. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I do think it's a pretty good head sculpt. These particular versions are based off the video game, not the TV show. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now let's check out his accessories. And let's start off with his hands. He has a total of 7 hands, 3 left hands, and 4 right hands. Here he is with his first pair of hands. These are his fists. And here's his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. The right hand is a very small grip, left hand pretty normal sized. And his next set of hands, his right hand is a gripping hand with a trigger finger, and his left hand is sort of a cupping hand. And he has one more additional right hand. This is another gripping hand with a trigger finger, but a little bit less pronounced. Now we have his backpack. It's done in mostly brown colors. Looks like maybe it has some patches on it or tape on it. You can see some straps, pockets. It's got the straps that go over his arms, and one has a flashlight attached. Here's Joel with his backpack on. Now let's look at his weapons. He has a shotgun, a machete, and a little pistol. Shotgun is pretty good. You can see the sort of brown part that's going to go under his arm, and then the brown part for the pump there. Machete also looks good. It's got a silver blade, brown handle, and this tiny little pistol. Here's Joel holding a shotgun. He can hold it with either one hand or with 2. Here's Joel holding the machete, and then here holding that little pistol. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at both the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing right at 6 inches tall, which can translate to just over 15 centimeters. It looks like they went with true 1/12 scale, which means 6 inches equals 6 foot tall, which also means he's going to be smaller than pretty much every other 1/12 scale line out there. And we'll check out comparisons at the end of the video. And for his articulation, starting with his head, it can rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that much. Pretty good range of motion. He does have articulation both at the top of the neck and the bottom of the neck. Can tilt his head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint. Goes out a little bit more than 90 degrees. Up, down, around. He's got a bicep cut below that. He does a single jointed elbow. Earlier I thought that was one piece and that wrinkle was another cut up there, but it's not. Goes in about 90 degrees. It has rotation, but it's at the bottom part of the forearm. And then his wrist can rotate, and this particular hand is not hinged. Most of the hands are hinged that they have. Some are hinged forward and back, some are hinged up and down. He's got ball joint his torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one in his waist, rotate around, forward and back. Legs, complete of splits, ball joints inside of there. There is a thigh cut, double jointed knees, go back all the way, and then his ankle, forward and back the tiniest bit, rotation, tilt, rock. Now let's look at Ellie. She comes with 4 alternate hands, totaling 6 interchangeable hands, a bow, an arrow, a rifle, a pistol, a knife, and a backpack. So this is Ellie. Joel often calls her baby girl. In the game, she grew up as an orphan in the Boston quarantine. At one point, she was infected with the cordyceps brain infection, and Ellie discovered she was immune. A friend of her mother's sent her off with Joel, escorting her outside of the quarantine zone. This turned into a year-long journey and is sort of the premise of the game. So let's take a closer look. Now, if I thought Joel was small, she's even smaller. And she should be. She's a younger teenage girl. The face looks pretty good. I can totally tell these are based off the video game, more so than the TV show. Got her hair in a little bit of a ponytail here. Red shirt, long sleeve shirt underneath. Looks like we've got some, I don't know, palm trees or something on top of there. That ab crunch looks absolutely hideous on her. They probably should have even included it. Single jointed elbows, double jointed knees, blue jeans, red tennis shoes. These are both going to make good civilians and background characters, albeit a little bit small for my collection. And a closer look at her face and head sculpt. And here's this figure, broken down as far as she can go with all the removal parts detached. Now for her accessories, starting off with her hands. She has a total of 6 hands, 2 left hands, and 4 right hands. Here she is with her first pair of hands. Her right hand is a gripping hand with a trigger finger. Her left hand is a traditional gripping hand. Here's her second pair of hands. The right hand is another gripping hand with the trigger finger a little more pronounced, and the left hand is another gripping hand. And she has 2 additional right hands. This one is a gripping hand with a much smaller grip, probably for a knife. And her last right hand is another gripping hand, and her index and middle finger is in kind of a weird position. I believe it's to hold the arrow. Here's her backpack. A little bit smaller than Joel's backpack, mostly done a green color. It's got a little keychain down there, a little radioactive symbol, a flight pin, and she also has a flashlight on one of her straps. Here's Ellie, wearing her backpack. Now let's look at her weapons. She has a rifle, a pistol, a knife, and a bow and arrow. Here's the rifle. You can see it's mostly done in brown, wooden finish. Barrel looks good. Same with the trigger and the top parts. We have a little pistol here. Not a revolver. Looks like a very, very small pistol though. Then we have this knife. Not much to say besides it's a knife. Looks like could be a switchblade. We have our bow, which I think is really cool. It has that sort of stretchy string, which is a very nice touch. And then, of course, a little arrow to go alongside it. Here's Ellie, holding that knife, and then here, holding that pistol. Here she is, holding her rifle, which she can hold with either one hand or with two. And here she is, holding the bow and arrow, which actually looks pretty decent. The arrow actually fits into a little slot in the side of the bow. The string gets pulled back and fits between her two fingers. Now let's check out her height. From bottom to the top of her head, standing about 5.1 inches tall, which can translate to around 13 centimeters. She's pretty small, but she should be smaller than Joel, as she's a teenage girl. And for articulation, starting with her head, of course, it can rotate side to side. She can look up, not much, down that far. Can tilt her head from one side to the other. Shoulders on a ball joint goes out more than 90 degrees, up, down, around. She's got a bicep cut that's hidden very nicely between the two shirts. Single jointed elbow goes in about 90 degrees, and it also has a rotation. Seems a little redundant to have bicep cut and elbow rotation right next to each other. Her wrists can rotate, and this one is hinged up and down. In her torso, she has a ball joint. Rotate around, forward and back. Then she has this hideous ab crunch that allows her to go way forward and back, which seems kind of unnecessary. The ball joint goes forward and back enough. This is ugly and should not have been included. Her waist looks to be one solid piece attached to her crotch. Legs completely splits, little ball joints inside of there. She's got thigh cut, double jointed knees, and her ankle. Forward and back quite a bit. Tilt, rock. No real rotation there. Here's a look at Joel and Ellie moving through the woods, continuing their journey. Guns are ready. Now let's check them out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Last of Us figures. Here's the Spinmaster 6-inch scale Last of Us 2-pack, next to the NECA 7-inch scale Last of Us 2-pack. I believe the NECA one is based off the TV show, and the Spinmaster one based off the video game. And I don't really have any other Spinmaster figures to compare them to. Definitely not in the 6-inch scale. I have some Spinmaster figures in the 4-inch scale, which are DC figures. Here they are next to a couple of Clayface figures. Like I said, completely different scale, so not very relevant. Now let's check them out. Next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how they fit in, both scale and style-wise, in case you don't know which lines you can mix them with. Since these are Spinmaster figures, they're the 6-inch scale. I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect, and work my larger. Here they are, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and some SH Figure Arts action figures. And now, with some Mafex and Hasbro Marvel Legends. Just look how small the Spinmaster figures are compared to Marvel Legends. Marvel Legends are 6-inch scale, a little bit larger than true 6-inch scale, but man, these Spinmaster are not going to go with almost anything that I collect. They're even smaller than the Jazzwares Fortnite figures. Here they are, next to a Bolio roll. And here they are, with some Mattel and Mezco DC figures. Then, with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct figures. And finally, with some McFarlane and Diamond Select toys. Overall, this is a decent Last of Us 2-pack. My biggest complaint is they're too small. Way too small. Also, Ellie should not have that ab crunch. That thing is hideous and totally unnecessary. Their accessories are plentiful. Tons of weapons, backpack, tons of extra hands, and they probably didn't need to include different variations of trigger fingers, trigger hands for the different weapons. They probably could have made them all work with one set of trigger fingers. Not a big deal by any means. Articulation is pretty good. Double jointed elbows would have been nice, but it's not necessary. Sculpt and paint job, excellent. Just so damn small. If I were to rate these guys, first thought is 6 out of 10. And they're nice figures. They look good. But I'm going to have a hard time putting them with other figures because they're just so small. 6 out of 10 is probably the right rating to give them, but I'm probably going to drop it down to a 5.5 because of their sheer size. So this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say with the video, add it to the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll talk to you guys real soon.